Welcome back to the Broker Power Up podcast, the AIM podcast for strategies, stories, and insights to help you close more loans. I'm Tommy Golightly, joined by Jonathan Haddad. How are you?
Having my coffee, having some
It's
fun,
early.
having our fortune cookie in front of me, Tommy. It could not be a better day, my friend.
All right. Well, we have a lot going on today. We have the Broker Buzz, where we dive into the top posts of the week from the Brokers Are Best Facebook group and discuss what's trending, what's working, and what you need to know. Then we're going to have a sales pitch training where we're going to learn about the fear flip framework and become better salespeople. And then we'll wrap things up with story time with John. But first, what's in the fortune?
Fear flip framework. Can you say that
Fear
10 times?
flip framework. I was practicing in my head.
Fear flip flame. Ah, shoot.
You jinxed yourself.
Darn it. All right, here we go. Fortune
The
cookie.
tongue twister.
Today's fortune. Time heals all wounds. Keep your chin up. That is today's fortune. Time heals all wounds. Keep your chin up.
I love how they added "keep your chin up" and not just because
Time heals all wounds.
"time heals all wounds" is enough, but they were like, "No, we need a little more motivation. Keep your chin up."
That's why you know what's funny. I do now that you say it. I like that a lot too. Actually, it's like, hey, keep your chin up, because it's like you read the quote, and at first you're like, "Time heals all wounds." You're like, "Oh, great, another cliche saying," and then they followed up with, "Hey, keep your chin up."
Yeah,
It's like it's like you turn around and someone winks at you. Like everything's gonna be all right.
yeah. No, I like that a lot,
So do I.
and it definitely does because once you're like, I'd say 2 to 3 days away from something that really stressed you out, you're starting to feel better. But if you're like 2, 3 weeks, or even, I guess it depends on the thing, but most things that'll upset you, you can there are different timelines that you'll get over it, the 2 to 3 days, the 2 to 3 weeks, the 2 to 3 months, depending on the severity of the thing. And just keeping your chin up through it and
It,
just
it is, man. Like you're spot on. The other side of it too is like that is part of the purpose of life, is your ability to deal with pain, just like your ability to deal with things that happen that are good for you, things that are exciting for you that happen. But the more you go through life and learn how to tolerate and understand pain, it does, is not that it gets easier, to your point, but it's a better understanding of life, because you realize this is just part of it. It's a part of the game of life, I guess, that so many people are playing every single day.
yeah. I mean, you go through it enough times, and I'll never pass down an opportunity to quote Lord of the Rings, but we've been here before. We're going in circles. You get used to it. It's not surprising. You get to you've experienced it before. You've seen the outcomes of how you've dealt with it, whether good or bad. They're both learning examples of either what to do or what not to do.
Spot on.
But let's get into the broker buzz. Our first question of the week. I have a Korean citizen that has his US H1 visa approved and should be issued in approximately 1 month. He has a job offer letter from a local university and will be starting his employment in about a month and a half. He wants to buy a home, but he is being told by the credit company there's no way to run his credit because he does not have a US address. How do you do this? He does have a social security number.
Yeah, so really good question. There's going to be 25 different answers to this question. So the first path that you go down here is, I would say, all right, well, if he has a job starting, is he getting an apartment or something of some sort that'll be started prior to him starting the job? Obviously, so there might be some delay, but you can generally leverage that address even though it'll be very new. Number two, look for a lender that'll do a manual underwrite for conventional loans. So it is allowed, but you might need somebody that will require manual underwriting. So what's that mean? For those that don't know, for most conventional loans, if not all conventional loans, the process is an automated process. It's called AUS, and it's an automated underwriting system. And it's basically saying, here's everything that needs to be done in order for us to give this client the money that they need to secure a house. Well, in some cases, it comes back and it's not always fully approved. Well, in certain instances, it might not be fully approved for something really small, like it's just a small oversight. It's nothing that's detrimental to the loan. It's nothing that would allow a client not to pay their bills, but it might be something that's off, and they want somebody to actually go in and look at it and not just allow the system to automate and tell us that this is approved. So it's not for everybody, and not all lenders do it, but that's a manual underwrite. You'll need to find a lender that can do it if you can't find that address or that client won't be moving into an apartment or something of sorts prior to that.
Cool. Question number 2. Scripting question. When you're calling real estate agents, both new relationships and established relationships, what are good questions to ask and good calls to action that you use to ask realtors for biz? I am looking for new sales scripting ideas to help build relationships and good calls to action. Thanks.
So everybody always asks, like, what's the secret sauce? All right, so here's the real answer. Number one, in order for you to get good at scripting, you just have to start. That's the first area. There isn't any script I can give you right now that you can just jump on and sound flawless on. I've been practicing a lot of them. So for me, the first thing I would say is be very selective in the agents that you go after. So a lot of new loan officers, what I see them do is they try to go after an agent that does $20 million in business. That's not the agent for you. They have a lot of loan officers calling them. Look for the agents that are doing $3 to $5 million to start. And when you're making those phone calls, like for me, it's something along the lines of this: A, just sparking curiosity. So I say something like, Tommy, hey, my name's Jonathan Haddad. I am a local lender, and I'm sure you get calls up the wazoo. Well, look, I'm not here to step on any kind of toes, but I'm sure right now you work with a preferred lender. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Or or they say no, right? So one, I
Yep.
open up that conversation. No, that's correct. It's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So here's just what I've learned from my experience is every Michael Jordan needs a Scottie Pippen. Every Bugs Bunny needs a Daffy Duck. And I don't mind being either of them two because they both had great careers. So tell me, was there a file recently that went through that you weren't able to, that your previous lender, current lender wasn't able to close that I could take a shot at? Is there anything that was denied out or clients that have been laying dormant that you haven't been able to get in front of that you'd love for me to call on your behalf? So it's just the little stuff, the little sprinkles that you put in there, right? And then it's just practicing and becoming a smooth operator and learning how to deal with the objections that come your way. Because even if you get the meeting, a lot of times what happens is the real estate agent will cancel. They'll cancel, they'll push it out. Oh, sorry, I got busy. Oh, sorry, I got this. Oh, sorry, I got that. So for me, after I make that initial contact, that's when the fun begins. See, Tommy, I love this part of it. Everybody thinks it's the initial scripting that does the trick. It's not. That gets me in the door. Yes. Why? They heard my name, but now you're going to see me everywhere. What do I mean? Now I'm adding you on social media. Now you're on my Facebook. Now you're on my Instagram. Now you're on my LinkedIn. And now that initial cold call, because I'll call you again in a month after I've inundated you with constant just requests on your feeds, posting on all your stories, making sure that I'm front and center. Now my second call is a different conversation. I've now opened up that door, but it started with the initial cold call that I had up front. So it's a lot longer process than just scripting. Yes, have I been able to just script my way into a real estate relationship? Yes, I have. It happens. Is that the majority of them? Absolutely not. Some of the agents, my top agent took me a year to get him to send me one deal. Tommy, a year. I spent a year going to all the events, connecting with him, being there whenever he needed it, never asking for business one time. It took me 1 year to get one opportunity. And finally, after that one opportunity, now I'm the preferred lender for this huge real estate agent here in Michigan. So it's a lot deeper than just the initial call. What are you doing after the initial call? That's what matters most.
And what I really like about how you worded that first part of the initial call is, what can I do? It's almost like like making sure, and the Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan reference, like you're setting the expectation or putting in their mind that you are on their team
It,
and
it,
that
it
you are there to help them.
Tommy, it is. And more importantly, to what you just said, I love how you catch these things. it is on me. You don't owe me anything.
No.
You're the like that's what people don't get all the time. I try to tell loan officers, agents owe you nothing at all. So stop getting in the mindset of, oh, this person should work with me because you have to constantly be earning. What can I do? How can I change everything for you? And then I will say this one last piece of it. Once you build the relationship, now you have to become a business partner to these agents. Like help them with their P&Ls, their profit and loss statements, help them with their balancing their books, teach them how to scale. That's where you become a business partner, and it's impossible for them to want to use somebody else because you provide so much additional value.
And it's just so much easier to reach out to you then
Way
if you
easier.
stay in contact. But awesome. Yeah. I think that definitely answers the question. Question number 3 this week. What are you all advising when the borrower just recently got hit with a 90 plus days delinquency on student loan payments?
Look, the lay of the land is the lay of the land. All right. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's the lay of the land. Yes, you need to be empathetic, obviously, right? But you also have to talk about game planning with them. What do the next steps look like? Because it'll be harder to get them financed for a loan, obviously, with 90-day delinquencies. The likelihood the loan goes approved through that automated system starts to dwindle down when you have delinquencies on things like federal debt, being student loans. The other thing for student loan debt is you have to be very upfront. If the consumer is looking into a federal loan, so FHA, or if they're a veteran of the military, a VA loan, there's something called CAVERS. And a CAVERS report is when you default on federal debt. Default and delinquent are two different things. A CAVERS is hard to get financing on. So if you do default and it is federal debt, the student loans happen to be through the federal channel, not private. Well, then that CAVER will pop up if you're trying to do an FHA or VA loan, and it won't allow you to do the loan. So as loan officers, you have to talk through those conversations, no matter how difficult it might be. Your consumer is going to be upset. They're going to be frustrated. And I totally get it. But if they really want to buy a house, you got to start talking game plan with them. And I say this, it's like the attorney that has to deliver bad news, the doctor that has to deliver bad news. You have to be that person and say, hey, look, I get you're frustrated, but there is still a game plan. So you can't just sit there and be empathetic the entire time. Oh no, it's okay. Oh no, yeah, no, we're here now. I totally get it. I know it's really frustrating. Rest assured. And I know one of the things you said is you need help with this because you want to really get this home. So I want to talk through some of the things that'll happen if we don't get this resolved. Would you like to have that conversation now, or do you need some time just to make sure you can sort through this and take a look at what's really in front of us right now?
And a reminder from past episodes, bad news needs to travel just as quick as good news.
At that same speed. So that's just the approach I would take for it. It's a real conversation. Feel bad, that's okay, but help them game plan. You'll be rewarded a lot more for helping people out that way.
Absolutely. Well, if you want your question answered on the podcast, be sure to become an AIM member. If you are already, you're in the Brokers Are Best Facebook group. Leave a question. Use hashtag BrokerPowerUp question, and we will find it, and we will have your question answered here on the air. If you are not an AIM member, be sure to scan the QR code and see what it might be like to become one. So we'll see you on the other end for some sales pitch training.
Are you a wholesale mortgage professional? Well, then the very first thing you need is a community to help you and your business grow. With AIM membership, your community is right here. Joining our community means never navigating the market alone or operating without a safety net ever again. We are 16,000 members strong of united wholesale professionals. From rookies to top-ranking originators, all dedicated to supporting each other's success so we can grow together. Beyond entry to the best community in the mortgage industry, AIM membership gives you the resources, tools, guidance, discounts, services, and support that help you and your wholesale business grow, thrive, and most importantly, close more loans. AIM membership connects you with leading wholesale lenders and vendors, offering you exclusive access, services, and discounts that save you more money while helping you make more money. Never get stuck on a loan again with our lender escalation program. Grow your network and skills with the wholesale industry's best conferences and networking events. Get the strategies and skills of top originators and industry innovators with AIM's cutting-edge wholesale mortgage education, resources, and content. AIM offers all of this and more, starting at a low price of $19.99 a month. You heard it here first, couple cups of Starbucks coffee. For you to learn more and get started, all you have to do is visit aimgroup.com, AIME group.com /membership. Your community is waiting.
And I'm waiting to become a better salesperson with the fear flip framework. John, what is it?
You would throw it out that way too. The fear flip framework, my friends. So
I had to make sure it came out right.
The fear flip framework. So doing sales for as long as I have, you start to just kind of learn just about you learn about all the objections that come up, and it's not that they're the same, but you start becoming a lot more prepared for them, and you start understanding the psychology of people a lot more. And what you learn about people is we're all so similar. We are so similar. So what the fear flip framework is, these are for anybody, right? Client specific. These are for clients that are, let's just say they're constantly in the what if, right? Well, what if this happens? Well, what if the market does this and rates drop? Then maybe that's a better time for me to buy a home. Well, what if I wait just a little bit longer? Well, what if I save just a little bit more money? Well, what if, what if, what if, what if? And what happens as sales professionals is you work with that client. Of course, you want to help. You want to get them on the same page. You want them to be a client for life. But you start to get sales fatigue with the what if client. And what do I mean by that? I mean, every single Friday, they're calling you. They're going to go to an open house, but it's the constant what if. They're never really putting in offers, and that's okay. They got to be prepared and ready. But that what if client starts to make you resentful as a salesperson. And so what you have to learn to do is take and flip the framework. This is the fear flip framework of the what if clients. So every situation is a what if situation. Let's just first and foremost level set on that. If you think about life for a moment, life is what? Life is risk based. Every decision that you make has a risk. Some risk is higher than others. Really simple. So in the what if scenario, you have to acknowledge that with your consumers up front. So the fear flip framework. You see, Tommy, you see what I'm doing now? Now I can barely get it out of my head now because of this little tongue twister. But what if mindsets are basically in decision fatigue. They've thought about it. They're overthinkers. They're starting to lose their minds a little bit, just thinking about this process of maybe purchasing a home. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to acknowledge the fear up front. So I would say something like, Tommy, I totally get why you're asking that. Making a move like this, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. So you and I are on the same page. But let me ask you this. What if you don't move forward now? What does that cost you in time, money, or peace?
Time or money, I don't know. Peace, I'm stressed right now, but I guess I would be less stressed in the house than renting.
And tell me what it would mean for you and your family to be in a house. How often have you guys had these conversations about being in a home?
Here and there, but it's just one of those things that, of course, we want it, but can we afford it? Is now the right time? Is next year better? We've waited this long.
And that constant fear of what if, Tommy, you and I both know that's never going to stop. What I will tell you is this. You and I have spoken every single weekend. And every single weekend on Friday, you get super excited. You call me, you give me a list of houses, and I start pricing them out for you. And I love the excitement that you have. And then when Monday rolls around, you kind of backpedal a little bit. And I totally understand why. You want to make sure you're doing what's right for you and your family. But here's what I will say. When you and I first spoke, you said the biggest reason you wanted to move is for a better school district for your son and daughter. The areas that you're looking at all have better school districts for each of you. We know it's affordable because I've gone through that with you, and it's within side of the budget that you and I agreed upon. It's only about $150 more than the current rent that you're paying. And the what if is never going to go away. What I do know is this: people that own homes have generated more equity than people that don't own homes. On average, a homeowner has a net worth of $228,000, which is 38 times more than a renter. So I understand that you want to make sure this is perfect. And what I do know is this: it'll never be perfect, but it'll get us closer to the goals that you and your family have. And by constantly waiting, we're going to miss some of these opportunities. So I want you to feel good. I want you to feel comfortable. I don't want you nervous about this process. But what more do I need to answer in order for you and your family to feel comfortable about making a decision? Now, what did I do there?
You flipped it.
How so?
It's almost in that I feel like I got swapped on. Got switching from the fear of wanting to do it to the fear of missing out, or like not FOMO, but the fear of not doing it now. Also entered in that, like you said, missing opportunities. But and then the one line that really stuck out to me the most that you said was, "It'll never be perfect." And I think a lot of people will latch on to it's like people trying to time the market, right? But it's never gonna be perfect. Like, you're gonna move into the house and you're gonna see things that you missed, that you're not happy with, but you're in the house. Um, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you said, that's why it stood out the most was no situation is gonna be perfect.
No, it's not. And Tommy, that's something I always say. Like, even after they do a loan with me, I say, "Okay, are you nervous?" They say, "Yeah, I'm nervous." I said, "Okay, I want you to know that feeling's never going away, that you're going to continue to be nervous the entire way through process until you sign the documents." I say that to let you know that it's a completely normal feeling to feel the way that you're feeling. I say that every time, and Tommy, like I can feel it in their voice. The next words that come out are, "All
Yeah,
right, I
yeah,
understood. Thank you."
yeah.
Like, even those little words go, and that's what I do. And the other part of it is this, because of the people that are listening, this isn't like my first call with a client, right? This is after a couple weeks of them doing this, and then I can tell they're very interested, because there's going to be people out there that listen and go, "Oh, John, why that's not a good tactic." It's no, it is. If somebody is calling me week after week, excited to look at a home, they qualify correctly because I've done my due diligence up front and made sure they qualify, and they're excited, I am going to bring up more things like this. I am going to ask more questions, because I know real estate is the best path forward for people to have financial freedom. It's proven. It's proven homeowners have higher net worth than renters. So if a consumer is calling me week after week, trying to get something, having what if, yes, I will do this every single time. If it doesn't make sense for the consumer, it's borderline barely qualifying. No, I'm not having this conversation for those out there. But for everybody else, yes, this is a real conversation you should be having with your clients. So the fear flip framework.
And they probably know it, but and in the back of their head, they know it's normal to be nervous, but just someone else telling them that it's okay goes a long way.
Big
Cool.
time, Tommy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well, if you want to become a better salesman or salesperson, you can scan the QR code and make sure to come see us in Nashville in October at Fuse. And on the other side of that, we'll be back with story time with John.
Fuse is just around the corner, believe it or not, another year down. And we are excited for the largest event of the entire wholesale mortgage industry. Fuse National Conference 2025 is taking its show on the road. Now emanating from Nashville, Tennessee, from October 23rd through the 25th. This event is all about sales, sales, sales. Don't miss the chance to join us in Music City for 3 days full of the most cutting-edge content we've ever produced, featuring the industry's top minds, leaders, and innovators. Access the newest tools and resources from wholesale leading lenders and vendors. Take part in our acclaimed workshop summits for free. Catch wholesale's rising stars in their very own breakout sessions. And of course, take part in the best and, quite frankly, the most fun networking opportunities you'll find in the wholesale channel. Join us to grow your network, your skill set, and your business at what will no doubt be the greatest Fuse conference yet. Go to fuse.aimgroup.com to sign up and receive updates when tickets go on sale. Secure your hotel room and get your Fuse tickets for free. That's a $600 value for the prices as low as $199 when you sign up for an AIM annual membership. Don't miss your chance to be there when wholesale history is made at Fuse 2025. I can't wait to see you there.
All right, and we're back. John, the floor is yours for story time.
Thank you, sir. All right. I have a quick story for you today, but it's a story about being adaptable and what psychology says about those that are not good at adapting. And believe it or not, most of us go through these. I know I have for sure. And I'll give you an example of that. So I had an event planned in Colorado last week. And this event in Colorado, I've had planned now for a little over a month. And during this specific trip, I was going to bring my wife with me, got my mom and my grandma to come babysit. We had it all mapped out. My wife's birthday was on the 14th of June. And so I said, you know what? My wife needs a break. We have 3 kids under 2 years old. She does so much for them. And I mean, for us, for myself, for everybody. And I said, all right, let's get this figured out. And I'll bring her there and we'll have a couple of days together and she can sleep as well. So we get everything ready to go and we are heading off to the airport. We get there. Everything's going perfect. As we enter, we get our first text message. You all know the dreaded text message. It says, your flight has been delayed. Woe is me. So the first thing that I do is I look to see, is the plane there? So plane is there. So I said, that's a good sign. So trying to figure out what's going on. They say, oh, little bit of weather, overcast in Colorado. So half-hour delay passes. Then they call us and say, we're ready to board. We board the plane. We sit down. As we sit down, they come up on the speakers and they say, hey, we're going to have to wait at least an hour before we can do anything. We'll let you know at the top of the hour what we can do. Top of the hour passes. All of a sudden, again on the speaker, the pilot's on and say, we're sorry. It is time to dun, 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 deplane. Well, I am all a big proponent for safety and security on planes. So right away, jump up. My wife and I, we walk out. And then we're waiting for the delay. How long is it going to be? What's happening? Well, the delay is over 2+ hours long. And now people are starting to get frustrated. I'm starting to get frustrated. I have an event coming up. I'm trying to just figure out what to do. So then as the time passes, my wife and I, we have to make the decision that we are not going to be able to make this event anymore at this point. And all the excitement about my wife being able to sleep, getting that time to herself, just being able to relax a day away is now out the door. And I look at her and I see her a little, she's frustrated. I'm a little frustrated, a lot of things out of our control. But instead we look at each other and I said, you know what? Why don't we just stay in downtown? So we live in Michigan. We go to downtown Detroit. We booked a hotel room. I called my mom, called my grandmother. They watched the kids for the night. And my wife and I adjusted accordingly. Still got a night's rest. We went out and had a beautiful dinner. And we adapted accordingly. Then the next day, I was speaking to the team I had to do an event for. They said, hey, would you do the event via Zoom for us? Do you mind jumping on and doing your speech via Zoom? I said, no problem at all. So I jump on yesterday via Zoom. And as I jump on, I cannot share my screen. My camera's not working. A couple minutes are passing and nothing's working. It's just dead silence. And as we're sitting there in the dead silence, I was frustrated at first. I said, oh my gosh, how am I going to present? What am I going to do right now? People are waiting for me to speak. I can see them. They can't see me. So people are just dead staring, our way. And then I said, you know what? Reframe everything, sit back, adapt. And I just started going into the presentation. Now, why do I tell you all of that? I tell you all of that because I still work on that every day. And I want you to know there's 4 specific things in science that talk about people that don't do well adapting. So, number one, the first person that doesn't do well at adapting, these are people that have a low tolerance for uncertainty. Unknown is looked at with anxiety and fear. So, because they don't know something, they think it's just anxiety or fear, even though it can be something incredibly pleasant. I've been there and still go there. Number two, ego threat and identity crisis. Change feels like an actual threat to who they are as a human being. These are the people that have a perfectionist mindset. I got to be perfect. This has to be perfect. Number three, fixed mindset. They assume talent, intelligence, and abilities are static. I'm just not good at math. I'm just not good at science. Here's who I am. I'm static at it. And number four, emotional dysregulation. Instead of problem solving, these people react with anger, withdrawal, or blame. Now, I've been every one of these people before, the 4 that I just mentioned you. This is what scares people about adapting. But your ability to adapt is what sets you apart. People pay attention to it. I got complimented yesterday on the ability to adapt during that presentation. I got multiple text messages, multiple people reaching out. My wife and I, with the plane situation, just adapting through it. Was I frustrated? Of course I was. But how good are you at adapting? In sales, your ability to adapt is what will set you apart. And if you carry it into your life, it'll do even more for you. So, my friends, how good are you at adapting? And of the 4 things I mentioned on people who aren't good at adapting, which one do you need to work on the most? I appreciate you all. That is my story. Have yourselves a beautiful day. Take care.
I love that. The I definitely saw myself in the perfectionist mindset and
Oh,
everything has to be perfect.
oh,
But
Tommy, that mine is the one for me that's the worst is the emotional dysregulation where I would just get so angry, like just so frustrated and so angry. And then the low tolerance for uncertainty. I have issues with that. So I work on them. I'm very aware of them now, but it happens to even me.
oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's a constant balance between what what you can and can't do and the in the time allotted or in the
Correct.
whatever time frame. But yeah, because I mean, we balance over on the marketing team here at AIM, we balance a lot of different things and we want everything to be perfect, but everything needs to get done. So if we spent the time making everything perfect, then not everything would get done. So
Nothing
you gotta
would.
make sure everything gets done to the appropriate level and be okay with that. Not everything's gonna be the best thing you ever made, but it's gonna get the job done and it's gonna do the thing. And yeah, otherwise you'll just drive yourself crazy trying to be the perfectionist.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Cool.
brother.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Broker Power Up podcast. If you found today's tips helpful, do us a favor. Hit the like button to let us know you enjoyed it, which helps even more people see this content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell to get notified every time we drop new content. Share this video with a fellow broker who could use a power up. And remember to lead by example, lift each other up to grow together, and most importantly, close more loans. Until next time, keep powering up.
Take care.